Hi everyone, Sunstride here, and in today's video, we are going to talk about Tower of Fantasy's latest banner, Claudia. Now, this might be something that might make you envious of me, but I'm happy to tell you that my luck has been working pretty well when I pulled her. With only 4,500 something black crystal, I wasn't expecting much from my pull back then because I was on 53 red nuclear pull, and based on the calculation, I would eventually get it. Imagine how excited I was once I saw the purplish light turn to red one, and there we go, Claudia in my arsenal. As I haven't used all of my pull, I decided to get her dupe as the 1-star weapon advancement sounded like something that would elevate her damage output further. On top of that, we don't have any solid physical comm yet, and it will serve as a nice thing to have. Now, before we move on to how I test her damage out, I think it will be safe for us to break down how I'm going to do it for a more orderly list and a reference for future videos. In this video, I'm going to talk about her capability in level 0 world mobs, interstellar exploration, and bygone phantasm. But before all that, let's jump into the intro first. As a solo player who mainly does PvE, what I do whenever there's a new banner is to test the level 0 damage output. I'm doing this in order for me to see how well their base attack damage in higher world level where the enemy's level is scaling to our level. Of course, I'm using the weapon resonance to get the 15% attack bonus. On level 0, Claudia does have the capability to clear out mobs with her initial stats. The real challenge is when she needs to deal damage to mobs with barriers. Her shield destroying capability is good one considering in level 0 she can dish out damage and help contribute in depleting it. Despite a huge damage multiplier, her level 0 skill doesn't do much considering her low base attack. On top of that, you also have to consider the fact that this skill only hits 5 enemies and does 20% reduced damage when you hit a mobs or boss consecutively. One thing that I've noticed for sure is that Claudia really likes to fight airborne. This is something that you will most likely do because if you get to pull her matrices, there's an increased damage whenever you hit the enemy mid-air and reset the double jump as well. Now, after learning some information of her, let's continue to see how her skill set works and her place in the game. Like I said previously, doing PvE world mobs with level 0 Claudia is sufficient enough for you to take down the Highness and Beater. Of course, the same thing doesn't apply to the overworld mobs with unique names and tons of HP and can generate shields. I did 1 hour of playthrough with her and felt that there's no problem whatsoever with her and think that she has potentially a good pull. As clearing mobs was easy enough for level 0 Claudia to handle, I went ahead and leveled her up to level 4P. To be honest with you guys, I made a very basic mistake where I leveled up the other weapon when making other contents and left with limited number of resources, and that's the reason why. On top of that, as I still don't have any SSR matrices yet at the moment, I'm using this matrix where it gives a total of 6% physical bonus damage, and with that matrices equipped, I went ahead and tried doing interstellar exploration with Claudia. Unlike my Freak Showcase video where I could dish out damage easily, it turned out mobs in interstellar exploration have a physical resistance shield. Now, this is somewhat troublesome to me because as a casual PvE player who normally log in to play this content, I have yet to find a substitute for a way to see the new unit damage output. After finishing the instance, I took a moment to think on what content Claudia would shine the brightest. For those of you who were wondering why I didn't bother trying Joint Operation or World Boss is due to the fact that as a casual player, I will more than likely to be outperformed by those whales or people who are dedicated to the game. This consideration came after numerous Joint Operation runs and World Boss where I don't need to break a sweat in order to finish the instances. After giving it some thought, I decided to test Claudia out on Bygone Phantasma. I did the first run on level 70 and was surprised to see that Claudia failed to clear this floor. I mean, it's a new banner and it failed? Still with my disbelief, I tried to objectively point out the part where Claudia went wrong and came to the conclusion that the level was simply too difficult or just accepted the fact that she just needed a heavy investment through awakening like any other unit in the game. After losing the first run, I leveled up my Claudia to level 90 and it's by far the most investment heavy weapon that I have in Tower of Fantasy. How? This is because I've ran out of nano coating and nano fiber. The only solution available to me aside from using the resources box is by using the black gold that I've saved to pull the next SSR champion. If you think that 20 level difference with a lot of investment will make any difference, you need to keep your expectations in check because even after burning my black gold, I still couldn't finish this level 60 Bygone Phantasma. Some of you might complain saying that I'm not using the right team comp on Claudia, and well, that's totally fine because this is how I test a unit capability, and if a unit can pass this test for another 30 level, then surely a new banner could too, right? Good thing I had her dupe and quickly 1-star awakened her. To me, this 1-star awakening is mandatory in order for Claudia to be effective and be able to dish out tons of damage to the enemy. Her 1-star awakening allows her to gain 1 stack of 8% increasing damage dealt to the enemy for 25 seconds whenever she uses her skill or discharge attack, and it can stack up to 3 times. With simple math, that will become 20% increased damage in total. And to make it look like a dream come true, let's add a 15% resonance bonus, and in total you're doing nearly 3% bonus there. With this number, I tried to challenge Bygone Phantasma once again and I couldn't see any significant difference. Well, I compromised with myself and used level 70 on this composition to make a physical team comp. I'm gonna be honest with you and tell you that my Zero doesn't have matrices yet, but I don't think that will be a huge problem given our Claudia is the main DPS in this video. Visually, the damage was improving thanks to Zero's skill that combined with Claudia's skill would make one huge mess of physical damage, but there seems to be one factor that restrains Claudia from stealing the main spotlight, and this will be one of your biggest considerations in pulling her out. After losing several times to this level 60 Bygone Phantasm, I think I know what to be the problem with her, and sadly it's on her skill set. Going back to her skill description, we have to factor in the 20% damage decrease when dealt to the same enemy. With Bygone Phantasm boss stage that designed as 1v1 PvE content, there will be a huge damage difference and, well, that sucks. On top of that, I strongly believe she'll become effective once she reaches 3-star Awaken, where she would have the ability to apply War Wound and make the enemy receive 10% increase incoming physical damage and shatter by physical weapon by 10% for 15 seconds. Now, this is something nice and will definitely increase her damage out and serve as a sub or buffer. Output and serve as a sub DPS or buffer role. If you're really dedicated in playing her and get to 6-star her, that's where the fun starts as the 20% damage decrease on consecutive enemy is taken out from her skills. The only question is, if you're a free and casual player, how would you afford to do that? In my opinion, Claudia is a unit with potential that you can use for different contents. If you are a free-to-play player with limited resources, building Claudia as a DPS unit might be a challenging thing to do, considering most of the fun were only accessible once you've awakened her. From 24% total increased damage to 10% increase incoming physical and shatter damage, you definitely don't want to miss her on your physical team comp. For free-to-play players, building Claudia is a viable option for you if you don't have any physical weapon. What you need to consider is the type of content that you're going to do, because if you're going to do that 1v1 PvE solo content, your damage will be decreased 20% every single time you hit the same enemy with your skill. The other consideration is how she's going to fill the role on your team, considering difference in power spike and functionality from Unawakened and Awakened Claudia. Well, what do you guys think? Do you think Claudia does have the spot in your team composition? Or do you think that she really needs that 6-star Awaken, or let's say the 3-star Awaken, in order for her to be effective? Comment below and let's discuss. Make sure to subscribe to the video for future content like this. Like the video if you enjoyed it, dislike the video if you don't think what I said makes sense, and see you on other videos.